Morning everybody, welcome back to the channel. Morning Mark, we'll come back to that in a bit. First of all, before I go any further, thanks again as per usual for all the words of encouragement that you've given me this week regarding last week's shit show. You didn't think it was, but I thought it was. I've decided to not basically mention the stammer too much. I've been reading up about it this week on various articles on various sites, and a lot of them seem to agree on one thing, that if you carry on talking about it, or if you talk about it too much or concentrate on it too much, you can kind of will it into existence when it's not really a problem. And I've spoken to one or two people at work this week, and they've not noticed it at all. So I think it probably is mostly just me. Obviously, I notice it. You guys don't seem to care about it, so I shall try to refrain from sort of talking about it and concentrating on it too much. Another thing that the sites tended to mention that is, if you do talk a little fast, and I do sort of hit the speed of a freight train sometimes, to slow down, which is another reason why when I when I copy and paste your comments, I do change certain things, and I'll put sort of punctuation in where I think it should go. It's not because I'm fussy about punctuation or that or anything like that. It is simply so that it kind of reminds me to take a breath, take a second or two before you move on to the next item. That's mostly why I do it. And if I change certain wording, which you will notice occasionally, it's because it makes it easier for me to say without tripping over words. So we're going to see how all of this works. As I say, I'm not going to mention it too much from now on. As I've said, nobody seems to notice, and if they do notice, they don't care. So let's see how we go with that. So with that said, let's see, where are we? Gareth. Morning, Gareth. That interview with Cynthia Rothrock, absolutely brilliant. That passed a nice little 40 minutes while I was cleaning the toilets at work this week. So really enjoyed it. I had no idea she'd done over 70 films. That's phenomenal. And I've never seen one. The one that I'm continually drawn to is China O'Brien, so I may invest in a copy of that. But this new movie she's got out, Black Creek, I watched the trailer to it last week and listened to her talk about it. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing that when it hits streaming or whatever. Love some of the reviews that you read out of that movie. The one that stuck out for me was somebody had quoted it as being a fistful of more fists, which I thought was brilliant. Absolutely made me smile, that one. And I'm also looking forward now to looking at a film called Yes Madam, which I think I'd heard of, and I'd probably seen it on Amazon, but not thought anything of it. But apparently there's a fight scene in there that's absolutely amazing. So I'm probably going to invest in a copy of that and take a look at that. But it's the first interview that I've watched of yours, Gareth, and I was really impressed with it. You've got a lovely conversational style. I didn't realise you literally make everybody feel basically like they are just having a little bit of a chat to you. I love it, absolutely loved it. So looking forward to your next one with somebody that I know. So, but yeah, Cynthia Rothrock, absolute legend. 70 films. Well done, well done. So the next thing I'll mention quickly is a post that Stuart Taft-Jones put on. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. So it might be sort of old news now. It was basically about the proposed sequel to The Goonies, which apparently is landing in 2026. You put, as long as they don't kill it off. Yeah, I'm really on the fence with this one. Lee, you put, I have a terrible feeling about this. Mark, a sequel I'm up for, but not a reboot. Reboots are shit most of the time. Dave Lowe, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Maybe taking Daisy Ridley out of it might help. She ruined Star Wars. I'm not familiar with Daisy Ridley because I'm not really familiar with the new Star Wars, so I'll have to take a look at that. Guy, you put, is this real? Coming back to that in a minute. Jason K, nope. All morning Ginger Ninja, by the way. Jason K, nope. Leave it. For the love of all that's holy, leave it be. I'm over the need to revisit these films. I get that there's a lack of fresh ideas, but do we really need to revisit every little bit of nostalgia from a bygone era to squeeze every last little bit of cash out of it? That's a very definite opinion, that one, Jay. I do agree with everything you've said. Jason P, you put, this could work if done right. This rumour has been mooted for a while now, so hopefully now it'll happen. Better than trying to do a remake. I tend to agree with, oh God, I'm truly on the fence with this. I obviously will take a look at it if it happens. The only problem with that now I read a couple of days ago that Corey Feldman and Martha Plimpton, two of the original stars, have basically come out and said, we know nothing about this. This is all news to us. Spielberg isn't directing. So is this another example of false news? Christ, I hope not, because I'm getting really sick of all this fake news that's going about. It's seriously starting to wind me up. Let me know if you find out whether it is fake or not. I'd be really, really curious to know. But I'm truly getting sick of reading articles and looking at posters and watching trailers, then finding out that these things actually don't even exist. So I don't know. Like I say, I probably would take a look at it, but I will be going into it with the lowest of expectations. And another thing that I read is that the reason it's taken so long to do a sequel, and the reason that if it is happening they put such a long wait time on it, which is 2026 or possibly even 2027, it's because they know, everybody in Hollywood knows, that the makers of this have got to get it absolutely right, completely spot on. Otherwise the critics will literally tear it to shreds. So let's see what happens, shall we? But I don't hold out much hope for this one at all. If you have read that it is actually fake, let me know, and I won't be talking about that one again. So on to some comments. Rick, morning Rick. You were talking about the sequel. We were talking about the sequel to One Night Rental a couple of weeks ago. You've put, shooting Two Night Rental has been postponed till next year due to conflicting schedules, but I'm shooting another movie soon where I play the leader of a stinger gang. Great video as always, mate. Cheers, Rick. What's a stinger gang? You got me on that one. That's a new one on me. Let's see. Dave Taylor. Morning, Dave. Hi, Tony. Watched the Comeback Trail the other day. At first, I wasn't sure if it was for me. I have to say I kept with it and enjoyed it. As you know, I'm not really big on comedy. I haven't even heard of that one. So when I come away from doing this, I'm going to check out the Comeback Trail, just see what it's all about, see whether it's something that I'd like. I would like to suggest you watch one of those 3 prison movies you showed off in the next fortnight. I like them all. Only seen Lock Up once, maybe twice, but Sutherland was good in it. I've always loved The Birdman of Alcatraz since I saw it as a kid. It used to be shown a lot in the 50s and 60s. I've picked Lock Up out of those 3. I will be taking a look at it over the next couple of weeks. I've added it to the watch list for this month, so I will be taking a look at it, mostly because the trailer looked amazing, which is why I invested in the Blu-ray. But yeah, that's the one out of the 3 that I've picked, but I will be watching them all at some point. You were also talking about Robert Stroud. It's been reported in recent times that Robert Stroud, on who it was based, that's the Birdman of Alcatraz, was not much like he was portrayed. Maybe it was his sometimes harsh treatment and knowing he would never be released. It was said later that he was very violent. Hollywood never ever gets these things completely right, do they? They always like to play with the truth a bit. And if you've got somebody like Burt Lancaster playing Robert Stroud, he will only play him probably a certain way, because that's Burt Lancaster. He plays the good guys, doesn't he, mostly? So thanks for that, Dave, much appreciated. Let me just increase the size of this. For some reason I've not zoomed in enough. It's a little bit small. I feel like I need magnifying glasses to... Here we go, just bear with me. One more. Oh, that's better. There we go. Sam. Morning, Sam. Excellent video as always, Tony, mate. I'd love to see you do a favourite film, favourite films based on New York City video, or a list at some point. If I think on, I may do that at some point. I think I did that on last week's video, but I think this comment came through after that video went up, so I totally get that. Oh, nice one, Tony. I absolutely love Solaris. Seen it like 6 times now. You have to let me know what you make of it when you've watched it, bud. I get the feeling it's going to be a real head scratcher, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to watching it. As I say, I've heard of it. I'm sure it was remade with George Clooney. Am I thinking about the right film? You'll have to let me know on that. The Proposition is a solid film. I was kindly gifted the BFI Blu-ray set. Very good film with a score by Nick Cave and Warren Ellis. Looking forward to taking a look at that. That is definitely going on next month's watch list. Absolutely. That was a birthday present. So, and the person that bought it for me said that I thought if we talked about it many, many times at work, and she says it's absolutely brilliant. And I said that I would look it up and take a look at it. And she said on my birthday that I thought if I bought it for your birthday, you would actually watch it. So I will be taking a look at that one. Awesome birthday haul, mate, and loving the Clockwork Orange t-shirt. It's beautiful and it is absolutely gorgeous. It was a little bit cold to be wearing it this morning, which is why I'm in the usual garb. But 1 week when it warms up a bit, or I've got this room a little bit warmer, I will wear it, definitely. Glad to hear you had an amazing birthday, Tone. Keep up the awesome work on the channel as ever, my friend. Much appreciated, Sam. I will certainly keep up the good work if I can. Callie, Callie's comment dropped after I'd recorded last week's video, so here we go. This is from 2 weeks ago. Time for this week's episode of Tony Time. I agree with everyone else. Saturday mornings just wouldn't be the same without a bit of Tony Time. Oh, that's very sweet of you, thank you. Replying to comments, I'm much the same, hon. I'd rather reply on a vid than type up something. Like I say, if I answer comments, you basically know what I'm going to say, so it seems pretty pointless typing it out and then just quoting my own words. So, which is why I just tend to, especially on the YouTube videos, I'll just give the comments a thumbs up and a heart, and pretty much the same on Facebook. So, Scum, there's another one for my list of Callie's never seen. Got something about Scum a little bit later, if you're still with us on the subject. Oh, if you're still with us, that sounded awful, didn't it? I mean, if you're still watching is what I was trying to say. To apologise. On the subject of video game movies, the Doom film is worth a watch. As long as you switch your brain off, it's just good, dumb fun, starring Carl Urban and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I've heard of this, and I get the feeling I can imagine either the Blu-ray sleeve or the DVD sleeve, so I'm kind of familiar with it. I'll put it on the watch list and I will take a look, seeing as you've recommended it. I bet I could pick a copy up on Amazon for about £3 probably. That's where I normally get them from. I missed last week's episode due to being in a bit of a depressive slump, but I'm all good now and catching up with everything. Good stuff. I know you have your darker moments, Callie. I think we all do, but not the way you get them. So I'm really glad you're feeling a little more positive about things and things are looking up for you. Wolverine films. Avoid X-Men Origins. Watch the Wolverine and logo at the very least before going into Deadpool and Wolverine. I think that's probably what I'm going to do. I can't see me going right back to the beginning of the X-Men movies. I can't see it, but maybe. I don't know. I agree with you, Tony. Oasis as a band, great. Noel and Liam as people, wastes of skin that act like the world should kneel down and kiss their asses. Overrated, entitled pricks. Couldn't have put it better myself. You'll certainly be in Ginger Ninja's good books with that one, because he's not a fan either, no more than I am. That particular story just rolls on. Every single day this week I've seen something about Oasis tickets, and it's like, for fuck's sake, who cares? Who gives a shit? I think the latest is that they've been asked to refund fans that have paid well over the odds for the tickets, which will sting them a little bit, because I gather that the reason they're doing this tour is because they've probably got not much money left. So that won't go down well, but serves you right. Duel. Oh, brilliant movie. It is a classic. I heard a rumour that the crashed truck from the ending is still where it was filmed, but not 100% sure how true that is. I'm going to be looking into that. I meant to do it this week and I completely forgot, but I'm definitely going to be looking into that. What an amazing story if that's true. A truck in a canyon from, what, 54 years ago? That's got to be worth a mention. I'll look into that and I'll let you know. I remember watching the Confessions films in my teens. They were shown on the Bravo channel on Sky TV. Anybody remember that channel? I remember it very well. I used to love the music. It had a very old style opening of an old warplane flying over an old London with spotlights. I remember it, and the music was just gorgeous that went with that. So yes, I remember the Bravo channel. It also screened a lot of old TV series, very much like UK Gold, and certainly very much like Great TV, that kind of thing. Let's see, the Confessions movies, where they were normally on a double bill with one of the Russ Meyer films, Vixen, Super Vixen, and so on. Those are apparently being released on, it's either Blu-ray or 4K, very, very shortly. I've never seen a Russ Meyer film, and I put a post on this week, and Guy was basically saying he'd seen a couple of them, and they're quite funny. So I'm going to be looking into getting those. They look like my kind of film, and they're very cultish. So yeah, I'm going to be taking a look at those. I'm surprised they screen those on Bravo. That's a bit of a surprise. On that that t-shirt is awesome, hon. You totally should wear it in next week's vid. I was going to do, but it's bloody freezing in here. Hey, that could be a new running theme. Each episode you could wear a movie t-shirt. I'm not sure I could afford to do that. Maybe once a month, sort of February's t-shirt and March's t-shirt. That's not a bad idea, you know. I might run with that. Leave that one with me. Another cracking episode, honey. I'm all caught up now, so time to get myself sorted and tackle the day. Looking forward to next week's episode. Thanks, Callie. I've got some more comments from Callie a little bit later. Stuart, morning, Stu. Couple of pre-orders I have coming soon. The 4K Blu-ray of Signs. Still haven't watched that yet. I really need to watch that. It is absolutely my kind of movie. Alien abductions, aliens, that kind of thing. And the 4K Blu-ray of Sixth Sense. Brilliant film. Both M. Night... You put Shyamalan. I can never pronounce it. Is it Shyamalan? I always call it Shyamalan Ding Dong because it's easier. Yeah, both M. Night Shyamalan movies. Yeah. Do you like his movies? I love Unbreakable, just fantastic. Actually, yes. But just bear with me. Lost the thread. I love Unbreakable, just fantastic. Never seen Unbreakable, but I have had this one recommended by somebody at work who kindly informed me that it's actually part of a trilogy. Is it Unbreakable, Split, and is it Glass or something like that? So I've put them on the watch list ages ago, so I'm going to shove them quite close to the top and see how we go. Let's see, I will release a video on my top 10 movies set in New York City very soon. I look forward to that, to seeing what your top 10 New York movies are. What's your favourite TV movie or TV miniseries? TV movie would have to be a movie called Trilogy of Terror, which I believe is from it's from the early 70s, either 71 or 73. Can't remember which it is. It was basically, as it says, a trilogy of stories. I remember, as everybody does, the final story, which was about the small wooden Indian statue purchased by a woman, and this thing comes to life. It's cursed. It's got this little chain, if I remember right, around its waist, and it will be perfectly inanimate so long as that chain is around its waist, and for some reason it drops off and the thing comes to life. It absolutely terrified me as a child, absolutely terrified me. But I would have to say that is definitely my favourite TV movie. And as for TV miniseries, just bear with me a second. What have I done with it? I'm going to disappear. Just bear with me a second. I'll just grab this. I don't often do this, but I've normally got everything by the side of me for a particular section, but I haven't got this near me, so just let me just centralise myself again. Favourite TV miniseries? I love Jackie Collins, his movies, books, all that kind of thing. I'm just a big, just bear with me, this thing, get me some positions. I know I shouldn't have done that, I should have saved it till later. So my favourite TV miniseries ever has got to be that one, Hollywood Wives. Absolutely love this, seen it many times. Got an absolutely storming song at the beginning from, I think it's Laura Branigan, obviously called Hollywood Wives. It's a fairly faithful adaptation of the book. It's not as sexually explicit as maybe The Stud, The Bitch, The World Is Full of Married Men, the movies that were out sort of late 70s in the UK. But it's still good stuff, and you've got a host of stars in this. You've got Robert Stack. There's not a list of stars on this. Let's see. Let me see if I can name from the front. You've got Angie Dickinson. What's her name? Crosby, Bing Crosby's daughter. Annette Crosby, is it? No, that's the British actress. I can't remember. Anthony Hopkins is in there. Robert Stack. That is easily my favourite, I would say, TV miniseries. So let's see. Thanks for that, Stuart. Much appreciated. Any other questions you've got for me, just throw them at me. All contributions gratefully received. Steve Mack, our Criterion guy. Morning, Steve. The Tower and Inferno is a classic. We were talking about the Tower and Inferno last week because it was Jason's never seen movie for last week, and he wasn't exactly what you would call impressed with it. Is a classic. It's a film of its time, but that flooding was real. No CGI in it. Some classic Hollywood greats in there, and a score by John Williams. There's that and the Poseidon Adventure, waiting on that 4K release for both of these. Yeah, the Tower and Inferno, as you say, the flooding was all for real. This is obviously before the days of CGI, so a lot of those movies they had to do with practical effects, especially the disaster movies. The logistics in pulling off something like that must have been phenomenal, and the Poseidon Adventure, and the Swarm, for that matter. Can you imagine handling that amount of bees? It must have been horrendous. And also like Kingdom of the Spiders, where you basically got people covered in spiders, and you knew that they were literally covered in spiders. They weren't CGI'd. So yeah, they were the days. Practical effects, we love them. Just bear with me, I cannot get this right. There we go. Let's see, you were talking about handmade films last week. The small studio. Wasn't it founded by Ringo Starr? I think it was. Was it Ringo Starr? Or was it another one? Can't remember. Great idea of the video on handmade films, by the way. I would definitely look forward to seeing that one, should you decide to do that one. I'm going to be looking at grabbing hold of some of the handmade movies, because I've not seen most of them probably since they first came out on sort of, I think they were on the Thorn EMI label, if I remember correctly. Movies like The Missionary, A Private Function, Privates on Parade, which I believe is quite rare, and also Bullshot, which I've heard of but never seen. Water, again, heard of, never seen, but I've actually got that on the planner. I think it was on Talking Pictures TV not too long back. So yeah, if you do get a chance to do a handmade films, I'd be very, very interested in watching that video for sure. Right, let's see. Sam, back to Sam. Morning again, Sam. Fantastic video as ever, Tone. Yes, Batman Returns, just like Die Hard, has also been up for debate for quite a while as to whether it's a Christmas movie or not. I class Batman Returns as 50% Christmas film and 50% non-Christmas film. Nonetheless, it's definitely a movie I watch every December. Really great film. I'm going to have to take your word for that. I haven't seen Batman Returns since it first came out on sell-through, so it would have been sort of early 90s, I would imagine. I don't know whether it's a Christmas film or not, but I'm going to take your word for it on that one. I had an absolute ball with both Batman Forever and Batman and Robin on the big screen recently. Such a wacky, fun time. They're not great films. I don't exactly get bucket loads of enjoyment from them, but I'm sure you're going to get some entertainment when you get round to them, Tone. I will take these Batman movies in. As I say, the only ones I've really seen are the original movie from 1966 with Adam West and Burt Ward, and the Jack Nicholson Joker movie. The that was the Tim Burton one, wasn't it? I do believe I've seen Batman Returns. Is this the one with the Penguin, Danny DeVito? I saw it, but a long time ago. But I never went any further than that. I've never seen any of the Dark Knight trilogy, the Christopher Nolan movies, which everybody keeps telling me I should have seen, but we know how that goes, don't we? So, thanks for the kind words about my Blu-ray VHS update from the start of the month, mate. It really is fantastic to see VHS getting lots of love on here. Absolutely. And with that said, I'll show you a couple of box sets that I bought the other week. Now, everybody else has seen these. Please forgive me for showing off things twice, guys, but Sam's not seen these, so just bear with me a second. I spotted these, I believe, on one of Gareth's videos or pictures or something like that, and I thought, oh my God, I want those. So I got this one, I believe, off eBay, the Star Wars trilogy on VHS. Now, whether I'll actually ever watch them on the VHS is beside the point, but there you go. You've got all three of those there, and I believe this is the widescreen box set. So you've got all three of them with some very, very nice artwork on, if you can see that. And then Gareth, very kindly, that was the box. Honest. Oh God. Gareth very kindly sent me this one, which is the full screen version of the same thing. So again, these have got sort of gold sleeves, just bear with me. There you go. These are very nice movies, I have to say. I'll take them out, but I can never get them back in again. There you go. I won't get them all out, but you get the idea. But they were the last VHS tapes that I bought, and they were about probably 2-3 months ago. So whether I would buy any more, I don't know. I don't know. Let's see, shall we? I've got enough sort of DVDs, Blu-rays, without adding VHS to the collection as well. It's finding the room for them. But I did particularly want those box sets because I remembered having them many, many years ago, and thinking I wouldn't mind those again. So I went and rebought them. So there you go. Would highly recommend the 1978 animated version of Lord of the Rings, Tone. It's based on the first two books, and the style of animation is just gorgeous and one of a kind. I watch it every year and can't wait for this Christmas day to watch it in HD as opposed to my DVD copy. I watched the movie for many years on that format. I would love to see this. I remember seeing clips of it as a kid. Well, yeah, it would have been as a kid. I'd been about 16 at the time when that came out. And thinking, my God, that looks incredible. This was obviously way before Peter Jackson got a hold of it and did these amazing versions that you're watching nowadays. But yes, I will try and grab a copy of that. I'm guessing it's out on Blu-ray, so leave that with me. Let's see, definitely going to be checking out Music Within soon. It really does sound brilliant, and for the cast alone. And again, with that being said, I looked everywhere for this movie. I looked on Amazon, I looked on HMV, let's see, I looked on, where did I look? I did eventually get it from Amazon. Let me start that again. Here we go. I looked on all of the streaming services, is what I was going to say. All the streaming channels that I've got. Couldn't find it anywhere. I even looked on the download sites. Couldn't find it anywhere on any of those. So I thought, you know what, bite the bullet. I'd watched the trailer and thought it looked absolutely brilliant. I also think Rob would get a real kick out of this one. So, treated myself. Cost me 14 quid, but to hell with it. I think it looks amazing and I can't wait to take a look at it. So I do listen to what you guys say occasionally. So let's see. When your next Saturday blog is out, I would have seen the good, the bad and the ugly in 35mm. Wow. I watched it at Tyneside last year and it looked amazing, Tone. So I think a 35mm print is going to do justice to this cinematic masterpiece, which is all the more spectacular. It's a very sublime Western that has stood the test of time. It's a brilliant Western, absolutely superb. I only caught up with the Dollars trilogy, all three of them, probably last year. Loved them, absolutely loved them. And to be watching them in 35mm, you're a lucky sod, I'll give you that. The New Beverly Cinema, which is in Los Angeles, it's a cinema that I'm constantly talking about. They have a podcast every month called Pure Cinema, where they read out the roster of movies that are coming out, being screened for that month. And they are always screening movies in 35mm. It's a place I'd love to visit one day. It probably won't happen, but I would love to visit there. But with the internet, you're virtually there anyway, aren't you? You just go there on a virtual tour or whatever. But yeah, 35mm, good, the bad, and the ugly. Way to go, mate. Right, I've hit 30 minutes. I'll be back with the rest of Sam's comments in just a sec. And we're back. Right, back to Sam's comments. Great top 10 New York City films list, Tone. Some amazing choices there. Love The Warriors. Could you have a word with Dave Lowe? He fucking hates The Warriors. Absolutely loathes it. Which looked great on the big screen. The soundtrack is tremendous. A brilliant 70s movie that just couldn't be remade today. Surely not. I don't know. It certainly couldn't be remade the way it was. How can I put this? It is of its time. It's a bit like Saturday Night Fever, for want of a better example. It's a movie of its time. I'm not sure I'd want to see a remake of that one. It would just be ugly, probably insanely violent. It would have none of the quirkiness of the original. I don't think it would anyway, so no, I don't think I'd be up for that one. Thank you for the recommendation. That film, Times Square, sounds fantastic, and hearing about the soundtrack and the bands featured, not to mention the songs, it has got to be right up my street. And with that said, I've said that a many times this morning, haven't I? This is my vinyl Times Square soundtrack, which I've had for must be over 40 years. It's a lovely thing. I don't know whether vinyls nowadays are gatefold sleeves. Do they have gatefold, which basically open up, basically like that, and you've got sort of scenes from the film in that side. There you go. And if you want to see the track listing, freeze frame that, if you can see them all. There are some classic tracks on here, there really are. Rock Hard, Susie Quattro, Talk of the Town, The Pretenders, Same Old Scene, Roxy Music, Down in the Park, Gary Newman. I Want to Be Sedated, The Ramones. Let's see, Babylon's Burning, The Ruts, Walk on the Wild Side, Lou Reed. How much more classic thing can you get than that? This is great. This is one I would like for the car actually, but do you know what? This is as rare as anything. Well, it's difficult to find now. I'm not sure whether it's available on CD. It wasn't the last time I looked. I think you could buy a sort of a bootleg copy for about 30 quid or something stupid like that. They do charge insane prices for things that are that rare. But I would love a copy of that for the car, definitely. But it's a cracking soundtrack and the movie is amazing, mate. It would absolutely be right up your street. I think it is still available. I'm fairly sure you'll be able to get it on DVD. I know Network did a Blu-ray of it, but they've gone under. Whether that's still available, I don't know. But I think I'd be up for a Blu-ray copy of that myself. So I shall take a look at this week, and if I think on, I shall let you know. Also, Breakfast at Tiffany's is one of those golden classics I have not seen, so must rectify that with a Blu-ray copy of it soon. It's a classic movie. I haven't seen it for many, many years. My enduring memory of Breakfast at Tiffany's is obviously the romance between Audrey Hepburn and George Peppard, and that terrible, terrible Mickey Rooney stereotype of a Chinese gentleman. It is it absolutely would not fly nowadays. Whether that movie is still screened, I don't know. That's an interesting thought actually. the BBC or any channel actually dare screen that with those sequences in. Um, I'll be curious to know whether that's the case. Have a superb weekend, Tony. Take care and keep up the wonderful work. Cheers, mate. Look forward to your future content as ever. And also, yes, I would absolutely love to see you do more music-related vids in the future, matey. It will be creeping in, definitely. I'm going to take it slow. Maybe just show off, an album a week or something from my vinyl collection. I know you've done quite a few videos on vinyl, 7-inch singles and stuff like that, which I need to take a look at. I love nosing through other people's record collections like I do other people's DVD and Blu-ray collections, so I'm going to find that very, very interesting. But yeah, you will see more music related stuff turning up on the channel for sure. So thanks for that, Sam, much appreciated. Callie, morning Callie, this is on yesterday's Saturday morning Tony time. Oh, some retro music. I love movie soundtracks, so maybe you could talk about those next week. A good one I can recommend is the Hellraiser soundtrack. Great atmosphere for the Halloween season. I can imagine. I remember the music from that movie when I actually saw the movie. I'd be happy to talk about movie soundtracks. I did actually show off, this is quite a while ago, my vinyl soundtrack collection, or some of them. I have the impression that I've got a lot more somewhere in the house. I remember having copies of a Friday the 13th soundtrack, an Alien soundtrack. There were quite a few. So what I'm probably going to do, mostly for Sam's benefit and mostly for people who don't remember what I've actually got, is start showing them off again, because it was probably a year or two ago that I was showing those off. I think Sam would be fascinated to see what vinyl movie soundtracks I've got. But as I said, there will be more more music related stuff on the channel. So any suggestions you've got, again, throw them at me, because I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Attack the Block is one I've heard of but never seen it. You're not missing out. It had the potential to be a really good film, but as Gareth put it, he said he thought the urban speak would be too much for me, and it absolutely was. It really started to grate with me after about probably 30 seconds. So, apart from that, the movie wasn't that bad. It was good to see Jodie Whittaker in an early role, but yeah, take out the kids. Yeah. Deadpool 2 is amazing, just as good as the first one, in my humble opinion. I've got to finish it yet, I've got about 40 minutes left. I got to the bit where his legs are growing back, and that was freaky, watching him walking on baby's legs. Oh my God, that freaked me out. I think that's about as far as I got with it. So I thought, I'll come back to that. Yes, Batman Returns is set at Christmas. There's a whole thing about them lighting the tree in the middle of the film. I need to take a look at those Batman movies. Yeah, definitely. I actually watched the original Friday the 13th yesterday, as I do every time it's Friday the 13th. I watched the original Friday the 13th, or we did, probably about 2 months ago, and loved it as much as we loved it the first time round. It never gets old for me, that one, nor does the second one. I've tried a few times to watch all of the other sequels, and I usually get as far as about 6 or 7, which is why I've never seen Jason Takes Manhattan, which is one that I definitely do need to watch. Obviously, I've never seen Jason X. I've seen Jason. Is it Jason Goes to Hell? I've seen part of it. I got as far as the part where a guy's basically grabbed a bloke's hand through a cell door and started breaking his fingers. So I thought I'll come back to that one, and I never did go back to it. So, but the original Friday the 13th, stone cold classic, never get bored of it. I loved Flight of the Navigator, one of many films that feed my young obsession with sci-fi. See, I didn't see it first time round. It took me 40 years to catch up with that one. Now, I love it. I've seen it probably twice. I will almost certainly watch it again. I'm fairly certain that if I had seen it when it was first released, the nostalgia factor watching it sort of now, I don't get it the way that you obviously get it. But how old would I have been when that came out? Was it about 1980? 5 or 6, so I'd have been 22, 23. So I wasn't exactly a kid, but I'd have still enjoyed it. I'm sure I would. The Borderland movie. Jason K, our Ginger Ninja, did a review of this. He quite liked it. A masterclass in how not, oh dear, how not to make a video game movie. I love the games, not seen the film, and to be honest, I don't want to. Succinct and to the point. It's not really my kind of film. I did say I'd look into it and see whether it might be worth a look. The hate for this movie is tremendous. You look on any review sites and people just don't like it at all. I think JK was the first person I'd ran into that actually enjoyed it. So I will look into it, but I'm in no hurry to do so. On the DVD I own, they show you how that wrist scene in The Fly was done. Once you know it's not so gross. I don't know about that one. If I can find that sequence on the making of, which will probably be on YouTube, I will take a look at it. I'm going to trust you on this one. I'm going to trust you on this. I will take a look at how it was done, and then I will attempt to watch that scene from The Fly again. Every time I've ever watched that movie, whether it be DVD, Blu-ray, or on TV, whenever it comes to that scene, as soon as I see him walking out of the laboratory, I know where he's going. I will skip forward, or I will skip a chapter, because I just don't want to see that wrist break. But I'm going to trust you on this, and I'll let you know how I go with it. Let's see. On practical effects, The Void is a 2016 film made exclusively using practical effects and worth a watch. I think you mentioned this one to me a long time ago, and I never did get round to it. I don't even think I wrote it down, but I will write it down on the watch list. I've always wanted to watch Saturday Night Fever, just never got round to it. It's a classic movie, it really is. Obviously one of my favourites of all time. Ooh, yes, I know, guys, I know. But yeah, I'd highly recommend it. Carrie. I called you Carrie, didn't I, by mistake? Hell, I'll take that. I don't mind being a pretty girl with telekinetic power. Well, thanks, that's very understanding of you. Taxi Driver. There's another one for my never seen list. What? Really? If you like Scorsese's movies and you like De Niro, it's just marvellous. It never ever gets boring to me. I've seen it, I must have seen it upwards of 30, 40 times. Whenever it's on, and I bump into it when I'm channel hopping, if it's only like 10, 15 minutes in, I will always watch it. And I usually end up watching it to the end. So it's a total classic. If you've not seen it, Callie, that's one to definitely put on your watch list. I'd actually put that above Saturday Night Fever as far as you watching it goes. X-Men, the 90s cartoon and its follow-up, X-Men 97, are definitely something you need to watch. Yeah, I mean, I can find time to do that because they're only about 20 minutes, aren't they? So I am going to start that. I do believe I watched the first episode of the original X-Men animated series a while ago, but never followed it through. So I will take a look at those and let you know what I think. Wait, there's another remake of The Wolfman coming out? Might need to have a look at this. You need to check the trailer out. It's as creepy as hell. It really, really is. The movie looks amazing. I cannot wait for this. It's part of that whole monster thing that they're resuscitating, the old Universal monsters. I think they did The Mummy with Tom Cruise, which I thought was a complete misfire. Didn't enjoy that one. The Wolfman is going to be the next one. And the one after that, I read that, I think is it Guillermo del Toro? Can't remember who it is, but a very, very famous director is doing The Creature from the Black Lagoon. I love The Creature from the Black Lagoon, the old original version from 1955, the old Universal black and white horror movie. Absolutely love it, so I can't wait to see what they're going to do with that. Odd that you've been feeling unwell and tired all the time. I've had the same thing all week. I don't know what it was. I've started walking this week for 30 minutes every day after work, and I am actually feeling a little bit better. But I don't know what it was. Everybody at work was complaining that they felt knackered all the time. And despite getting a decent night's sleep, you still wake up feeling shit. That can't be right. But whether it's just a passing thing, I don't know. I shall keep on with the walking and see how I go. But yeah, there was a lot of people suffering with that. I've not seen The Warriors in a very, very long time. Need to get myself a copy. I did play the video game that came out on the PS2. Very faithful adaptation. See, I don't get all this PS2 thing. The games, is it basically like reliving the film? Because computer games now are very, very different from what they were when I was younger. It was basically like Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Phoenix. I think was another one that I used to enjoy playing. What was the one in a maze? I can't remember. But they were playable back then. They were difficult, but they were playable. I wouldn't have a clue what to do with a PS2. If you set a PS2 up for me now, I would not have a clue what to do. I pick the joys. Is it joysticks anymore? I don't know. And I just wouldn't know what to do with it. So it's completely wasted on me. It's a shame, but it is. And oh wow, I actually made it through a whole vid in one sitting. I'm proud of myself for that one. As always, Hon, another great vid. Looking forward to the next one. Thanks, Callie, and thanks especially to you for taking the time to actually watch and to leave this brilliant long comment. Considering what we've had going on over the last few days, I'm really, really flattered that you took the time to watch this, because I'm sure you've got much more important things to take care of than listening to me prattle on for an hour and then writing long comments out. But it is so much appreciated, and I really hope things get sorted out for you soon. I really do. You deserve a lot better than you're getting at the moment, that's for sure. So thanks again, Callie, much appreciated. Guy, your right hand man, great video, Captain my Captain. Thanks, Guy, for the Dead Poets Society reference there. Regarding the Doctor Who journey, yes, skip the animated versions. I get what you mean about them. I'm glad they've been made, but they do lose something compared to live action. Do you know what? It's really clever how they've done it. They've basically married the animation up with the surviving audio adventures, and they look great. They just don't have the nostalgia factor that the original black and white episodes have got, for me anyway. So I'm taking your advice on that one. I'm going to treat the animated versions of anything Doctor Who related as a completely separate entity. I will order them as they come out, and I will watch them no matter what order I get them in. And I am now going back to the black and white originals of Patrick Troughton. I've ordered one this morning, The Tomb of the Cybermen, which I've not got. Hopefully should have that sometime next week, so I can pick up my Doctor Who journey next weekend. So you will be getting an update on that very soon. It's the way to go, I know it is. I've just got to be careful I don't double dip with them, because I've got so many of them upstairs. I do need to get them into some kind of an order so that I know what I've actually got and what I haven't. I hope I've not ordered a second copy of Tomb of the Cybermen. I don't remember seeing it upstairs. I'd recognise the sleeve, I'm sure I would. But I will be taking a look at that from next week, so you will be getting regular updates on Doctor Who. That one would be probably in about a month's time, but I'll be showing it off as a new edition anyway. So yes, I'm taking your advice on that one, Guy. You like Monopoly? You'll have to come over for a game and plenty of brews. I may take you up on that sometime, mate. I've got next week off, so I'll be catching up with stuff. I've not had a chance to watch First Up, Apes and Oppenheimer. Any other recommendations are welcome. Leave that with me. I'll come back to you on that one next week. I'd read that comment, but it never registered for some reason. So I'm trying to think of, off the top of my head, of what I've watched recently that you would enjoy that is new. But I can't think. So leave that with me. I'll keep this comment on here, and I'll come back with 3 or 4 recommendations next week of movies that I've got that I think you should definitely catch up with. I presume we're talking about new movies here, so let's see. It's totally your group. You're our fearless leader. I really appreciate that, Guy, and I didn't mean that to come out wrong last week. I wasn't shrugging any kind of responsibility or anything like that. It's just that I consider this whole thing, this whole venture, to be a group effort. Without you guys and me, I suppose, it just wouldn't work. There'd be no point to any of it. So that's all I was trying to get across, is that I don't ever consider it to be my group. I simply started it. I basically threw the switch on it and you lot ran with it, which is brilliant, and it's always been brilliant, and it will always be brilliant. So I really do appreciate that, and calling me your fearless leader. I've not been called that ever, so I appreciate that, mate. Oh, hang on, I think Mark did it the other week, maybe. You definitely need to have a change from pizza. Chippy, perhaps. It's close to your house. Maybe. I mean, we do enjoy a pizza on a Saturday night. It's just nice to have things delivered. You don't have to wash up. You don't have to cook anything. It's brilliant. It's just the one night when neither of us has to do anything apart from wait in and then just stuff ourselves stupid. So you can do it all online now, can't you? So maybe a Chinese one night. We'll see how we go. Like Jason, I was also about 12 when I first saw Confessions films. He's right. They did help. Did they really? Did I have anything like that when I was young? I don't think there was anything like that. The British kind of sex comedy was. I don't think it really started to come in until sort of the like 72, 73. So I'd have only been about 10 years old. I don't think anything like that interested me back then. I'm fairly sure it didn't, but I will take your word for that they helped with your forming you into the human being that you are today. Is that the way to put it? Politely. I'm certainly looking forward to watching them now, that's for sure. I mean, there would just be now an oddity, a sort of a quirky comedy from the 70s that completely harmless and just funny. So yeah, looking forward to getting to grips with those. Well, that's it for this week. Great episode in my opinion, even if you didn't think so. Carry on, Commander. Thank you, Guy. I will certainly carry on. Mark. Morning, Mark. Morning, Captain, you said. Thanks for that. Borderlands. Never played the game and the film went off in less than 20 minutes. Utter dog shit. Succinct and to the point. Never heard of this Cronenberg chap, but it's a cracking pint of lager. Oh, seriously, honestly. David Cronenberg, mind you, I guess it'd be either before your time, I don't know. Have you never heard of Rabid, Shivers, The Brood, Videodrome with James Woods and Debbie Harry? The Fly from 1986 with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis. That was David Cronenberg. He specialises in body horror films, the kind of movie that I normally can't watch or have great trouble watching, i.e. what I was talking about earlier with the wrist break, which was pretty nasty in The Fly. I don't think you would like them. I think you would find them too old, too sort of much of their time. I'm not sure you would get on with any of them. And his recent output, I'm not sure even I would like them. He did one recently and I can't remember what it was called, but I read the plot or the synopsis of it and thought, oh, really? We're going down that road again. So I think Cronenberg as such has gone off the boil, so you're actually not missing very much. But it's a shame you don't like the early films, but horses for courses, isn't it? This week, me and the wife have watched Platform 7 on ITVX. Not heard of that one. Also finished season 1 of Sherwood and started season 2. I completely misread that. I thought, my God, he's watched Robin of Sherwood. And then I realised you're talking of Sherwood, the BBC drama, which I've seen the first season, really enjoyed, completely puzzled me the ending, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, I thought you were talking of Robin of Sherwood, the Robin Hood series from the 80s. Great video, mate. Same time next week. I will certainly be here same time next week, Mark. Thanks for all that, much appreciated. And thanks for calling me Captain. Captain, Commander, Fearless Leader. You lot are full of compliments this morning, and it's very much appreciated. Right, still with Mark. Well, folks, here it is, my first never seen it review. Hence, this, Planet of the Apes, the original, not the sequels, just the first one. Here we go. Absolutely fucking awful. I wanted to turn it off by the time the opening credits started after the first scene. Bloody hell. Looks crap. Acting is wooden and robotic. Never again in my life will I watch this rubbish. 1 out of 10. It made one. I'm surprised it made one the way you were talking about it. Um, it's a stone cold classic, but I would say that because I've got very fond memories of this movie, especially the first time I ever saw it at Burton Odeon. It would have been early 70s. Absolutely loved it. You, not so much. I actually told Mark that I was proud of him for taking on the challenge and actually seeing it through to the end, which I am. Well done, mate, for actually making it through the whole thing. There can't be anything worse than watching a movie that you absolutely ain't into, especially when it's from literally the opening scene. Um, you see, it's something I don't do. If I start a movie, I will generally finish it off unless it's something insanely violent or horrible. I will usually see it through, but I'm really proud of you for doing that. Guy, you said, tell us how you really feel there, mate. It was a bit vague, wasn't it, Guy? Mark replied, if Tony hadn't challenged me, it wouldn't have made 10 minutes. I'd have been surprised if it had made that long. Guy said it's a classic. Not going for the sequels then. Not a chance, mate. I'd rather be castrated with paper cuts. Yeah. Guy said, fair enough. Just glad you watched all of it for what it was worth. Jason, you said, I knew you wouldn't like it. I first watched it when I was 10. So I've grown up watching it. I enjoyed the sequel, but the 3 follow-ups weren't that great. I would agree with you there. The first sequel, I think it starred James Franciscus, was actually really good. The next 3, not so good. I would definitely watch them again, but certainly not as good as the original. Absolutely not. And Jason, you were asking, so is your never seen a regular Sunday evening slot then now? And Mark, you said, I've not really thought about it, to be honest. I just felt like throwing this one out there with no prior warning. But yeah, Sunday evening sounds like a good slot. Let's see. Oh, you're asking about the Railway Man. It is on fairly regular on BBC iPlayer, as Jason said. I've seen it on there quite a bit. I've actually grabbed myself a copy. I'll show you in a bit when I'm showing off the bits and pieces that I've bought this week. But I've always shied away from it. The reason being, I believe it involves a lot of scenes of torture, all that kind of thing. Obviously, it's to do with a guy who was held prisoner in a prisoner of war camp, a Japanese prisoner of war camp, which were particularly brutal from what I've heard. So it's not really my kind of film, but saying that, I definitely wouldn't mind a look at it. So we'll come back to that in a bit because I have actually got a copy of that one. So, right, I'm coming up to 27 minutes. I'm going to take another break. I've got Jason's comment to get through and a couple of other little bits. So I'll be back in a few seconds. And we're back. Right, I've actually taken about an hour off. So Rob's gone out and Maya is roaming around here. There's been an awful lot of activity on either side of the house. These have been going out and coming back in. He's been doing the same next door. So she's been going off on one for the last half an hour. So if she does decide to throw her toys out of the pram again, I do apologise. But I do need to get this finished. So we're coming into the home stretch. Let's see. Jason, morning, Jay. Great vid, mate. I watched this at 7 a.m. this morning. Even though you don't think it's good, I get why you wanted to finish it quick, because in your head it's not right, so you needed a break. So completely understand. It just wasn't going well last week, unlike today, which hasn't actually gone too bad. But from what I was saying earlier on, nobody seems to notice it anymore. I'm the only one that picks up on it because I'm obviously the one that's doing it. So I'm going to try and disregard it completely from here on in. But I appreciate the fact that you do understand where I was coming from that last week. It really did go terribly to me anyway, but obviously you lot didn't care. So you will always find Batman Returns in some Christmas movie list somewhere. You see, you've heard of that as well. I haven't. That was a new one on me. I don't class it as a Christmas movie though. I've got to watch it to find out. I get the feeling I probably won't class it as a Christmas movie. The nearest I would probably get to that is what you've said before, is that, you know, you're just used to watching certain films at Christmas, and even if they're not Christmas themed, it reminds you of Christmas. Digby the Biggest Dog in the World is one that does that for me. I've only ever seen bits of it, but it was one of those movies that whenever we came back from holiday, Christmas holiday, in Prestatyn at Pontins, more often than not, either that or Wombling Free was on ITV when it was the first thing I saw when I turned the telly on. So I will always associate those two movies with Christmas, even though they've got nothing to do with Christmas. So yeah, I totally get that. Sell through. Remember those days well. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, available to buy straight away. Loved it. I believe the first movie to do this was Three Men and a Little Lady. They did it with Lethal Weapon 3 too, which I think I wet my pants when that was announced. I wouldn't go that far. Lethal Weapon 3. Can't remember the first sell-through movie I actually bought. I do remember getting them for the first time into the video shop. This was when they were first sort of coming out, and they did ask me, the guys that worked there, they were ordering like a shed load of them for the shelves to sell, and they asked me, being a staff member, is there anyone that you would like for yourself? Free, obviously. So I picked a videotape of old horror trailers called Coming Soon, which arrived, and I got it, and I loved it. I don't know what happened to it. I kind of lost it somewhere along the way. But I think that's probably the very first sell-through movie that I ever got. As for the first one I ever bought, I honestly can't remember. Probably a Bond film or something like that. Ashes to Ashes 3 series is just great, and you do get an answer at the end of series 3 of what was happening in life on Mars to Ashes. Yeah, we've got to kick off season 2 of Life on Mars, hopefully sometime over the next few weeks, and then obviously move on to Ashes, which I think Rob will get even more of a kick out of, because it's 80s based, so I'm guessing it's going to have a cracking 80s soundtrack. But I shall let you know how I do with that. No to Mackey's, or we're talking about pizza night. No to Mackey's, they are just a snack. Singapore Chinese curry is the one you want. I'll have to look that up. That actually sounds quite nice. Where do you get yours from? You don't have to fetch it, do you? Can you actually have it delivered? Because I'm a bit lazy nowadays. I don't like going to fetch things. I prefer things to be delivered to me. So yeah, you'll have to let us know on that one. Rebel Ridge is on Netflix. I was listening to some reviews this week on the Total Film podcast, and also another one, who basically said it is a really, really good movie, despite the fact that everybody thought going in it wasn't going to be that good. But apparently it was, so I will be checking that out. Is it overly violent? Let me know. You were talking about breaking down surrounded by trees. What were we talking about last week? Can't remember, but I do remember talking about that. Yeah, you were talking about breaking down in the car surrounded by trees. Are you on about the road between Walton and Catton, where it's narrow, dark, and trees both sides? How the hell did you know that? That's exactly where it is. You remember all those hills that you have to go up, and it's literally trees either side. And whenever I used to drive through there, I used to know somebody in, I can't remember where it was now, but that way out anyway. And driving there and driving home in the dark, the only thing I could think of was, I don't know what I'd do if I actually broke down here. What the hell would I do? Apart from shit myself, I would not be happy at all. So yes, that's exactly where I'm talking about. So you know what I'm saying with that. You've put, I am positive I saw that Black Panther that's supposed to be loose in this area one night. Travelling back from Rugeley one night, so it'll be about 1 a.m. I just saw a big black tail going into the trees. It was too big to be a cat. It could have been a dog, yeah, but at 1 a.m., who has the dog running loose around that time of the morning? Never forget seeing that tail though. Yeah, that would have scared me as well. My biggest fear, apart from breaking down there, was actually driving through and seeing somebody just standing on the side of the road, because obviously they would have no reason whatsoever to be out there at that time of the night. I didn't, but it was always a fear of mine. So yes, that's exactly where I was talking about. As for no threads next, as for no threads next year, remember you said I was regimental, so I'm sticking with it. I do have a final 100-day thread that we can all do, but that can wait. No hurry for that one. I hope you do carry on, Jay. I hope you do, but I quite get it if you don't want to. You've been doing it now for, well, since we started the group. What's that, 3-4 years ago? And you've done such an amazing job with it. And as for never seen, we shall see. There may be hundreds of films I haven't seen, but I have to want to watch them first. I want to watch a movie because I think my viewing taste will have changed from when I first watched them. And to be fair, I have watched some good films in this thread. Also seen and turned some shite off too. I think I'm going to find that the more I go through it. My first never seen is coming up very shortly. Actually, watched it last weekend. I'd never watch a film for the fun of it because I'd be on my phone and the film would be on in the background, i.e. Star Wars and Star Trek I'd never put on, or old musicals. You just don't like Star Trek or Star Wars, do you? And I can't imagine you sitting through something like Easter Parade, or The Sound of Music or anything like that. So I've got some crackers left to reveal yet. Some you're going to be surprised with, Mr. Harris. Oh, what a tease I am. You are indeed. I'm looking forward to finding out what's coming next. So, like I said last week, that one doesn't really have to end, because there will always be movies out there that you've not seen that you'll spot on either iPlayer, ITVX, or one of the other streaming services, and you'll think, yeah, that will do. It doesn't even have to be a regular thing, Jace. Just whenever you spot one. And you put ta for a bit, Brum's slang for bye, is it really? Ta for a bit. Right, here we go. Never seen it, week 37 of 50. It was this one. To Sir with Love, Sidney Poitier, Lulu, let's see, Judy Geeson, Christian Roberts, who now plays Eric Pollard in Stapenhall. Rob's actually met him. He used to run the marathon in London, and he got talking to him one day and basically asked him about To Sir with Love, and there was another one that I said I'd seen him in. What was it? The Beast in the Cellar from 1971. And what he said was he remembered filming To Sir with Love and loved it. He couldn't remember for the life of him The Beast in the Cellar. And he says, well, you were definitely in it. So, but yeah, To Sir with Love. Now, when I first saw it was that movie, I thought, oh my God, do I want to read this? Because I've got a horrible feeling I know where this is going. It's one of my favourite films ever. I absolutely love it. Caroline loves this as well. Pretty much everybody I know adores this film. Sidney Poitier's portrayal of the teacher is just superb. So, your little synopsis. Idealistic engineer trainee and his experiences in teaching a group of rambunctious white high school students from the slums of London's East End. Cracking movie. You put, my mum loves this movie. She always watches it when it's on TV, so I thought I'd give it a bash. Guess what? I enjoyed this movie. Gonna watch the sequel whenever that's repeated, but in no hurry to watch it. But yeah, I enjoyed this. Wasn't sure what I was going to choose this week, but after just watching Tony Time, I thought I'd go with this one. I'm really pleased you liked it, mate. As for the sequel, I wouldn't bother. It's a completely different animal. It sounds very similar. It's set in America in a high school. I believe Lulu makes an appearance in it. I don't remember it being anywhere near as good as To Sir with Love. It passed an hour and a half, but that's about it. So I'd probably pass on the sequel. But if you're that curious about it, you go for it, because I'd be very curious to see what you make of it. You might like it. So yeah, I was really pleased that you enjoyed that film. So right, that's all the comments. Thanks ever so much, guys. You've done me proud again, comments wise. You've kept me going for over an hour, an hour and a quarter, near enough. So yeah, much appreciated, and look forward to reading what you say about this video next week. So a couple of little quick well, one actually that I'll do before I go on to other bits. Jason K, our Ginger Ninja, you were talking about the Spider-Man multiverse animated movies. I was basically asking weeks ago whether it's actually worth me taking them in, especially seeing as the concept of the multiverse just seems to go just straight over my head. Jay, you put, if you were worried about rushing to finish the Spider-Man multiverse animated films, looks like you've got some time. And the breaking news was Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, which is the latest instalment, I believe the third, has been indefinitely delayed. Most of the film has been scrapped by Sony, and it will be lucky if it comes out before 2027. So I've got loads of time. Guy said, bloody hell. I believe it's to do with creative differences, people not being happy with certain things. So they're basically taking their time with it to make sure they get it absolutely spot on. So I've got 2 years, 3 years near enough to decide whether I actually want to take in the animated movies or not. I probably will at some point, just for the matter of being a completist. But I'm in no hurry to do that. So right, I think that's everything on my little script. I've got some little bits and pieces under here, but I'm going to save those till next week because it will give me a bit of a head start. Some of those items are about 3 weeks old, so you probably have completely forgotten what they were about by then. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. So let's see, my first never seen. First of all, I'm thinking of calling it Tone's First Time Watches, because I think Mark's doing never seen. Jason's doing never seen. So despite the fact that I put a little sort of image card on saying is it never seen film club or something like that, I'm probably just going to call mine First Time Watches. My first one is this, or one of this. The Outlaw Josie Wales. Now Jason did this one a few weeks back, and I think he quite enjoyed it. I'm going to join him in saying I enjoyed it as well. I didn't realise Clint Eastwood directed this. It's a great story. The locations are just gorgeous. It's a fairly brutal story with 1 or 2 scenes that are not dodgy, but you think... Yeah. I actually checked what certificate this was when it came out. It was a AA, so it was over 14s only. I get the feeling that if this was released now, it would probably make an 18 certificate. Due to an attempted rape and a couple of other assaults. It's pretty raw stuff. I had a feeling it was going to be like a sort of a Western TV movie, that kind of thing, like Bonanza or something like that. But I should have known better, knowing Clint Eastwood. But a really, really good film, cracking story. 2.25 hours long. Really enjoyed it. Looking forward to getting to grips with the other ones in this little collection, which are Pale Rider and Unforgiven, both of which I've not seen. But yeah, my first time watch, Outlaw Josie Wales. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Highly recommended if you've not seen it. Mark, you like your westerns, don't you? Yeah, I'd recommend that, definitely. I think it's tough enough for you. Right, shows I grew up with for this week. This is from the 70s. It's from an era when kids were treated kind of like adults as far as TV goes. There weren't many. Kids shows nowadays. Are there any kids shows nowadays? Or are they all stuff like Hollyoaks and stuff like that with teens just doing teen things? We had proper dramas back then, and this was one of them, which I absolutely used to love. Shadows. If I've repeated any of the ones that I did a while ago, please forgive me, because I can't for the life of me remember which ones I've shown off and which ones I haven't. But Shadows was an anthology series, 30-minute episodes, all to do with ghosts, the supernatural, monsters, that kind of thing. Some of these were quite not terrifying, but they were scary stuff for their day. I believe this series started about 1975, I believe. But yeah, a good series. It ran for 3 seasons. You've got some stars in this. I think David Jason was in one of these, John Goodman, Jenny Agutter. It's a good series. I'm thinking of watching these again. I saw them all probably about 5 years ago, so I'm due for a rewatch of this. But this week's show I grew up with, Shadows. Right, my double bill for this week. This is where I pick a movie at random, and basically, if I were to send that movie out on the cinema circuit on a double bill, I will pick a movie that I would send it out with. I showed this one off probably a couple of weeks ago, and I spotted it on the shelf, and I thought, yeah, I know what I'd do that one with. McVicker. Been listening to a podcast about this movie, halfway through it this week. This is a cracking prison film, based on the true story of John McVicker, who was a bank robber. He robbed post offices, and it's mostly about what it is, completely about his life in prison. Co-stars Adam Faith. Who else is in this? Doesn't give a list of stars, but there's a whole host of British faces that you will that you will recognise. Carl Howman, who I believe was in Brushstrokes, he's in this. There's no end of them. If you were to watch it, you would say, yeah, I know him. This is one of Jason's favourites, I know. I remember seeing this again, 1980, Burton Odeon. I think it was on its own, but if I were to send it out on the cinema circuit now with a double bill, I would send it with this one. This is honestly, it makes McVicker look like the Waltons. This is nasty stuff. If you've never seen it, or if you're of a certain age where you've not taken this in, this is as grim, dark and black a picture you could ever paint of the postal system as it was in the 1970s. And I heard on a podcast not too long back that a couple of years after this movie came out, the whole postal system was reformed because they weren't happy with the image that was basically portrayed within this. You've got Ray Winston, you've got Phil Daniels, you've got no end of people in this as well that went on to do a lot of other movies. This is the movie that I would send out on a double bill with McVicker. I've also got, that's actually the Indicator box set, which you do get, I believe, posters and all sorts like this. There's also a rather nice little book that you get with that one, which is, again, it's mostly images, pictures. There you go. Rubbish at that. But that's a nice little box set, and that's not the only version of Scum that I've got. I've also got this one, mostly because I wanted to see the TV play that started all this. So I grabbed this on DVD, which also includes that. Banned for 14 years, the toughest film on TV, as it was back then. And what else have you got on here? Yeah, you got the unseen version, you got interviews, you got the theatrical version, which is the movie, and lots of interviews on there. So that's the other version I've got. And the other thing I found, when we're talking about old formats like VHS, I did have the soundtrack to McVicker. Check this out. Little cassette. You'll remember these, I'm sure. There you go. But just in case you don't, if you're too young, that's what a cassette looks like. And that's got all the songs from the movie on it. I knew I'd got this when I first mentioned McVicker a few weeks back. I felt sure I'd got the soundtrack, and I found this box full of old cassettes. Some of them soundtracks, some of them not, but loads of them, absolutely loads of them. I had no idea I'd still got them. So that is the soundtrack to McVicker. Get a bit closer up on a tiny little cassette. So that's that. Right, a few bits that I've bought this week, and then I'll be signing off. Coming up to 20 minutes. Let's see. We were talking about The Railway Man earlier. I couldn't find it streaming. Or could I find it streaming and it was cheaper to get it this way? I can't remember. But I've managed to grab myself a copy of a movie that I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to watch. But I'm certainly going to give it a go. I had no idea it was based on an actual true story. I know it was loosely based on fact, but not the way that it is actually done. You've got Colin, is it Colin Firth? Yeah, and Nicole Kidman, um, based on the best-selling book by Eric Lomax, which I've just bought on Audible, so I'm going to be listening to that as well. And they reckon that the audiobook is a lot more explicit than this is. But I will be taking a look at this. This is going on either the end of this month's watch list if I get the others watched, or it's definitely going on next month's. I'm going to steel myself and definitely have a look at it as soon as I've bought it. But I know for a fact I'm going to have trouble with the torture scenes. And the other thing I bought, and it was on the back of that, is this book, Surviving the Sword. This is basically Prisoners of the Japanese, 1942 to 45 by Brian MacArthur. I've actually started this book. I'm about 10 pages into it. So I've now got 2 on the go. I've got this one, and is it Heir to the Empire? Shadows of the Empire, the Star Wars book. I've got that on the go as well. But this, I get the feeling, is going to be a very, very tough read. I think this is going to be everything that Bridge on the River Kwai was. And it does say in this book that the Bridge on the River Kwai, the movie, is a work of complete fiction. The actual railway that was built, total fact, but the circumstances and the way people were treated and all this sort of thing, it was a lot worse than that. I'm guessing they could only get away with so much back in 1958 when that movie was made. But I'm looking forward to reading this, but I know for a fact it's going to be a very, very hard book to read. It just, talking about the railway man just got me interested in what the difference was between the Japanese camps and the German camps, and I'm already beginning to see major differences just reading this. It's also sparked an interest in watching other movies on the same subject, but they're few and far between. The only one I could think of, and I got this a few weeks ago, is Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, with David Bowie and what's his name? The guy who played Reuben, Tom Conti. So I'll be taking a look at that one, and I'll also be looking at other movies to do with prisoners of war in Japan. There's a movie called Unbroken. I don't know whether that's to do with the Japanese. I'm not sure. I've got it upstairs on Blu-ray, but I've never watched it. So if there's any others that you can recommend on that subject, throw them at me, and I'll take a look at those. Other bits here that I bought. I've wanted this film for ages. I've never seen it. There have been at least 3 versions of this over the years. The last one was probably about 2018. The only one I've seen was one from 1976 with Barbara Streisand and Chris Christopherson, and that was a long, long time ago. A Star is Born. This will come as no surprise to you. Judy Garland and James Mason. It is a classic. I don't know properly what it's about. All I know it's to do with show business, alcoholism, that kind of thing. Been wanting to see it for ages. It's a long film. This is nearly 3 hours. So this will be a nice, cosy winter morning when there's nothing else on telly. I'm going to be taking a look at that one. Next one. I want to watch a certain movie that has just come out, and it is a sequel to this movie that I bought. I suddenly realised I've not seen the original for a long, long time. So I thought, £6, Twister. Starring Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt, to do with storm chasers. Saw it a long, long time ago. Really, really enjoyed it, but I've only seen it the once. The movie Twisters, which has just been released, has got some pretty god-awful reviews. But everybody that I've seen that's watched it, that I know, has basically said it's nowhere near as bad as they're making out. This is critics for you. This is why we don't listen to them. I'm not sure what you guys made of it. I've actually got notes on here of what you guys made of this. So when, not this one, but Twisters. So when I've watched Twisters and also Longlegs, which you made an effort to watch probably about the same time as Twisters, when I've watched them both, I'll chuck my hat in the ring and tell you what I thought of them while reading out your comments on it. But looking forward to watching that again, and also the sequel. Next one. I went on a bit of a spending spree this week and I have no idea what triggered it. I just spotted one movie and I thought, fancy that one as well. Oh, might as well grab that one. Before I know it, I'd got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 films. So I've seen the original of this one many times, but not seen this remake. These were all very, very cheap, under £6, which is why I've grabbed them. But I get the feeling this is probably going to end up at the RSPCA shop, but we shall see. Pet Cemetery. The original lives in my memory for one reason. Basically, the aunt who is locked in a room with the twisted back and the face was just horrible. And the sight of the kid being killed at the end and also being run over by the truck right at the beginning. It's a distressing film. It's truly distressing. One of Stephen King's best. But I've not seen this remake, so for under £6 I thought we'll give that a go just to see what it's like. Next one. I've heard great things about this, but again, never watched it, so this is going on next month's watch list. The Invisible Man. I've seen the Claude Rains version from the 40s, the Universal monster movie. I've seen the David McCallum TV series from the 70s, loved it. Not seen this, but I've heard brilliant things about it, and they reckon this is genuinely shocking, scary stuff. Next one. Brighton Rock. Richard Attenborough. I actually wanted to watch the remake of this and suddenly realised I've not seen the original. So I grabbed this one for, I think it was about £5 second hand. Can't go wrong. Next one. L. Reason I've got a lot of these is I needed to clear off the hard drive on my Virgin Media box, and a lot of these movies were in HD and clogging up a lot of space. So I thought, you know what, for the sake of £3 or £4 for each one, I'll get them on Blu-ray, and if I've watched them and don't enjoy them, I can just give them away. So the charity shop are in for quite a haul in a couple of months. This is a French movie to do with a woman who is attacked in her apartment and basically details her efforts to find the person who did it and take revenge. I think it's some kind of a rape revenge thriller, so that's a French one. The Book Club. Been wanting to watch this for ages. This is Diane Keaton, Jane Fonda, Candice Bergen from Soldier Blue, and Mary Steenburgen from one of my favourites, Time After Time. I know very little about this apart from it's about literally a book club, and the women try to review 50 Shades of Grey, and it's all centred around that, but I've no idea what else happens in it, but I like all 4 of those actresses, so I thought we'll give that a go. God's Own Country. Know nothing about this one either, apart from the fact it's a gay love story set in the middle of nowhere. Again, it was clogging up the hard drive, so I thought we'll grab a copy of that. And finally, The Odessa File, John Voight. This is all to do with Nazi hunters. I believe it was made late 60s, or is it 70s? I can't remember. The sticker's actually covering the date. I'm not even going to guess. But I'm looking forward to watching that one. It's a long film. Again, that was taking up about 2% of the Virgin Media box. So I thought, it's the daftest reason ever in it for buying a load of films, but that's how it happened. I've got one book, a cracker, Creature Features. This is in a similar ilk to the Psychotronic book that I bought the other week, but this is no pictures, this is all text, but it's got thousands and thousands of monster movies, Creature Features. Let's see, shockers, schlockers, blockbusters, bombs, cult faves, rare gems, classics, gore fest, space operas, sorcery, and everything in between. Great book to dip into. And finally, the latest issue of Total Film with somebody that looks like he's some kind of a gangster on the front, but I don't know because I've not opened it yet. So, and that's everything. Right, I have kept you all long enough. We're into 30 minutes, so this is going to click off any minute now. So thanks ever so much for joining me, folks. Again, thanks very much for bearing with me last week and for the lovely things that you've said, putting my mind at rest that nobody cares about stammers and stuff like that. It's much appreciated. Have a brilliant week, folks, and I'll be back about the same time next week. Thanks ever so much for joining me. Like, subscribe, share the video, And again, thanks for joining me. Have a brilliant week, folks, and I'll talk to you all again same time next week. Take care. Ta-da.